extend up. Mokwa, they need to go, they just start going up like this. They were going, and for some reason, a tanker fully loaded with fuel had problem. And the fuel, and you know the way they drive in Nigeria, no patient. People were already scratching each other, the vehicle. They had come into a deadlock that you can't reverse back. You know how vehicles, Pastor Abdul can tell you more, how we drive in Nigeria, and then fuel started leaking. And one vehicle that was not patient left the road, tilted like this, and was going near the pavement. And maybe the silencer or something scratched somewhere, pow, caught fire. The bride, the groom, the best man, the best lady, the children, the father, the mother, everybody on that convoy was roasted like chicken. Nobody returned. In the bid of battle, a new beginning. When you read the Bible and you begin to read the account of the children of Israel and the psalmist, and God says God brought them out of Israel with great signs and wonders. When we were reading yesterday Psalm 125, it wasn't a coincidence. If the Lord had not been on our side, this journey of life is not easy. In the bid of batting a new beginning, it has swallowed people. Less than 4 or 5 weeks ago, one of our sisters there was in a mourning situation. Our younger sister went to put to bed, and by the time the news got to me, they said, pray for her. In the middle of that, I said, pray for her. I said, what's wrong with her? And then they told me, this type of country, in the bid of batting a new beginning for children, then they discovered that she was pregnant with twins, and one baby had died, and they didn't know. In Nigerian hospital, they didn't know that baby had died for days in Abuja there. And by the time they took her to the hospital, the process here and there, trying to bring out the baby, the dead baby. They brought out the dead baby, and then the second baby was alive. That one needed oxygen to ICU, and then they discovered the condition of the mother was bad. Before you know it, the mother too was unconscious, and then she died. The baby died. Only one baby survived. 3 went on the journey. Only 1 returned. In the process of batting a new beginning, many things happen. I don't know how this generation has become very careless and nonchalant about prayer. You call some people, oh, I'm busy. I say, that's the fight I used to have with his brother Musa. Busy. I said, you don't know busy. You don't even know the definition of busy. And this young man carrying camera too. Busy. And Joe, any flow of money direction, they are busy. It's just forward. BUSY. It's not good to be busy. You must find time for God. If you know what some of us have seen in this life, when it's time to pray, you will leave your busy and go and pray. Believe me. This journey of life, they were pleading with an elderly woman. Human beings that held somebody's destiny in their hand. Can people be that powerful? Yes, sir. And the woman said, as long as I am alive, she can't get married. And some people just go to church and play church game. They brought this young woman to my office, young lady. She's not looking old. She has printed invitation card 11 times without marriage. 11 times. Until I told her one day, next time you are going to your village, when you get there, I told her, wake up in the night, every 12 midnight, wake up. We have given instruction to some people in church before that are stupid. They say they forgot. You don't know what is happening. In the bid of parting a new beginning, somebody has printed 11 wedding, 11 invitation card. They have done introduction, they have done everything. You see it in the Bible. Jesus said, look at that man. 7 brothers married. No, none of them could have children. Matthew 22:25. Nobody could have children. 7 of them from the same family. Luke 22:25. Nobody. And they all died childless. All of them, one after the other. They died childless. Until the woman too died. I told her, I said, when you get to the village, carry the sound. Read this portion of the Bible. And speak to the sound. Oh earth, hear the word of the Lord. If there be anyone in this village that is responsible for my flight, as I throw this sand up, as it's coming down, let there be affliction on the person. That same week she called me. He said, sir, there was a major quarrel in the family, and one woman stood up and said she's responsible for it. All her own children are married. From this lady's family, 4 ladies, not one is married. Even she herself that has done 11 invitations, she's 40 something plus. Nobody is married in the family. And one person decided to confess and say, I'm responsible. She said, what do I do? I said, there's nothing more to do. If the sound touches the heart, dust to dust, from the dust you were taken, from the dust you shall return. It's finished. This journey of life, in the bid of trying to birth a new beginning, it's not always easy. It has to be accompanied with great prayer, a time of intercession, because it is not good for a man to remain on one era forever. I told the young lady sometimes, but I said, go and put an end to that relationship. Every time he asked the guy, when are we married? He said, don't worry. They have done courtship for 10 years. I said, go and end it. Tell the guy I'm not doing it again. Free yourself. Let's know what to do from here. How to go about your case from here. In the bid of parting and new beginning, it's not always easy. There are battles. And we look at the life of the children of Israel, that God told prophetically, spoke to Abraham, their father, that they were going to spend 400 years. How 400 years became 430 years is something to study, because God never lies. His word is yea and amen. He told them. They were not the first he told, but somehow along the line in this life we have seen prophecy that is hanging, that didn't come down. Prophecy can hang. Vision that somebody has seen can be stopped. It's not automatic. That's why Timothy warned his spiritual son. He said, Timothy, my son, war a good warfare. The fact that prophecy has come, don't go and sit down. War a good warfare with the prophecy that have gone ahead of you. The prophecy Prophecy is not meant to make you relax. It's to put you on your feet. Because seasons can be delayed. Era can be prolonged. A man can stay on one season and never move to another season. One day God spoke to the children of Israel in Deuteronomy. He said, go and tell the children of Israel, they have stayed too long on Mount Horeb. Tell them to depart. In Daniel chapter 9 from verse 1 and 2, Daniel began to explain. He said, Daniel, I understood by books. When I began to study, I started looking at prophecy that the number of years that we are supposed to stay under this punishment in captivity is only 70 years. If we are not careful, 70 will become 100. That's what happened to the children of Israel. 400 years became 430 years. And somehow they were comforting themselves. Somehow people have been able to tell themselves certain things that may keep them in an era. They were telling themselves, they said, we are strong. We are strong in the midst of oppression. We are strong in the midst of trouble. The more you oppress us, the more we prosper. Glory be to God in the highest. Nigeria may not go well. Nigeria may not go fine. But in the name of the Lord, we will survive. Are we really surviving? The children of Israel said, look, we are doing fine in the midst of the oppression. The more they oppress them, the more they prosper. One day they said, no, this thing is not normal. Let us look at prophecy. Prophecy had it that we are supposed to stay 400 years. This is 430. 400 and what? We are still like this. 410, we are still like this. They began to groan. Go and see, if you check Exodus, he didn't say they were praying. They were groaning. This is not prayer. They were groaning. When you hear the sound of groaning, they are not normal sound. They are groaning. Go to labor room and hear groanings. Go to hospital and see people in pain and hear groanings. It didn't say the children of Israel cried to God. The Bible said God heard their groanings. When somebody is groaning out of pain, and people have grown like that to their death, and they are gone. Because I've heard their groanings. This affliction have to stop. This morning, it is looking at what should not be prolonged that is now enjoying long time tenure. Everything in life has duration. But for some reason, some things can continue. And if we don't discover them, they remain like that. God says, look, I have a plan to take you to a land that is flowing with milk and honey. But this type of life you are living now, with hard labor, Exodus chapter 1, hard labor, a life of rigorousness, a life of pain. When will this era come to an end? When will this season come to an end? And we have to bat the season. We have to midwife this season. We have to stay at the threshing floor to remove the corn from the chaff. So all of them don't consume space, and we think we are making progress. An era can take too long. An era may have expired and people are still living in that era. The word of God is true, but there's a place where they must be parted. In Isaiah chapter 66, Let's start reading from verse 1. A very lengthy verse. Ask your neighbor, are you still here? If not for you, for your husband. Some years ago, there was a church in town, a CAC church near Ranzeros. It's just the story of disaster. People were just dying in the church. People were dying strangely in the church. The CAC church behind Ranzeros. People died. They were burying people until the pastor of the church died. It was at that point I was called and said, come and be doing revival for us in the church. The way people are dying. As a young priest, I sought permission from those who were ahead. It's not like now. People just jump to wherever they like. No permission. It's a dangerous trend. Very dangerous. I'm the one invited. It's not my own guy. But I have to take permission whether I should go or not. He said go. And then I started conducting revival for them every month. CAC church near Ranzeros. I'm not a member of CAC. On one of the days I was praying, I said, we're going to do a prophetic service. Anywhere you are walking, bring an emblem. I will pray for you. And then one elderly woman, I was anointing people. People were bringing business items. This elderly woman, she brought only Bible. So I perceived she's a teacher. I said, this is what you brought, Mama? He said, yes. I carry oil, anointed. I said, next. She refused to go. She just stayed like this. I said, Mama, next. She refused to go. I said, Mumbai, sorry, Monique, Atik Badraton. As soon, she just stood like that. At that point, I know that she's trying to say something. And then she looked at me and said, I have worked for 35 years. I have not gathered anything. I stopped. He said, nothing. Then I told the other people to move. And then I held her and began to pray for her. That era is too prolonged and it's not trying to come to an end. It's a young man that was invited for a new job. Interviewed successfully. The test they wrote successfully. Then they said, we can't confirm and give you letter of appointment. We need to see your original results, certificates. Except he has found it today. Where he kept it, the envelope is empty. Is it not this certificate he's using to look for work? They said, bring the certificate now. His story was very bad. Even photocopies, he couldn't find. So who carried the certificate? They don't know. In the bid of entry into a new season, something new is about to break forth. It's like whatever kept him, liked him, unemployed. Now they are trying to get a job. No certificate. You have passed the exam. Your CV is good. You said you have this, you have this, you have this. Okay, bring the certificate. They can't find certificate. I said, young man, we may get you arrested. He said, sir, I can give you the phone number of my principal in secondary school, my VC, my supervisor for masters. I went to school. He said, hey, bring your certificate. He said, I kept it in my house. I opened the envelope. There's nothing inside. Young man, Are you trying to play on our intelligence? He was being sincere, but the people he was talking to cannot believe that a man is sounding this intelligent, and at the point of giving birth, he cannot produce a certificate. Do you understand when the Bible said the children of Ephraim were armed for war? In the day of battle, they turn back. So what's all this training they have been doing all this while is in the day of battle they now turn back. The children have come to birth, Isaiah. They have come to birth. At the point of birth, the Bible says the woman didn't have strength to bring forth. Every time there is a new beginning, it's always with battle. But every time you go back to the old era, it looks like whatever is after you has relaxed. When the children of Israel tried to leave Egypt to enter into a new beginning, Pharaoh said, no, where are you going? Where are you going? What are you going to do? Which God do you want to worship that we don't have? Mention the name of the God. We have them in Egypt. Egypt is full of gods. Mention it. They said you don't understand. His name is Yahweh. He said we can do another one and call it Yahweh if that's what you are looking for. They said no, he doesn't live among mortals. And if you are thinking that that era is a joke, do you not see that Moses came before Pharaoh and said, God said, let my people go. And Moses said, what is the name of your God? What are you telling us about God? He said, if you don't let my people go, you will see something that you have never seen in your life. Pharaoh said, like what? It's not always easy entering a new season. Pharaoh said, like what? What have we never seen? Moses just carried his rod. Pharaoh, you are trying me. Pharaoh, you are trying me. Pharaoh, don't let me drop this rod. Because the man that empowered me with this rod, the last time I dropped this rod, when I dropped it, it became a snake. And the man that empowered me told me where to pick it by the tail, and it became a rod again. Pharaoh said, drop it. And Moses dropped the sword, and the rod became a snake. And you would have thought Pharaoh will run away. Say, leave it, leave it. He said, Moses, is that all? Then he didn't call everybody. He just called one of his magicians. That one too brought a rod. He said, look at this thing Moses did. He said, it's God that sent him. I'm going somewhere this morning. He said, show him also. That one too just, Shango! Shango! Whoa! What happened to the rod? It became a snake. Excuse me. Stop playing. There are powers in this world. There are powers in this world. Your speaking in tongues doesn't cancel powers. There are powers in this world. Of a truth, men are doing like this and disappearing. Of a truth, not film trick, not magic. Of a truth, men, they call men's name in the night like this, and men appear physically, and in the morning they are dead. A man came from the village one time, Okum village, came to town here, and he said his son is dead. That man is Bode Balogun. He said his son is dead. They told him, they saw it in the spirit, and he traveled to this place and met the son alive, and he shouted, they said you are dead. I'm telling you the truth, that there are powers. Everything Moses tried to do in Egypt, they tried to reproduce similar thing. This is all in an attempt for the children of Israel to leave Egypt, to fulfill a prophetic word that was spoken 400 years ago, that has now extended to 430 years. That was spoken by God himself. By God himself, not by a prophet himself, by God. in the bid of batting something new. They wanted to keep them still in the hold. And God says, the last thing, go and tell him, I will kill all your sons. All your 4 sons, I will kill them. And all their 4 sons died, yet they still pursue them. In the bid of batting something new beginning, there are battles. I see a generation that is playing. A generation that should do battle with spirit, fighting one another, fighting each other. Members fighting each other, pastors fighting each other. Why Satan is having a field day. People running down each other instead of running down the kingdom of Satan. And Pharaoh said, come. So you can go. But somebody say but. He said you can go. This new beginning you are saying, but it's okay, you can go. You can go. You see, carry all these old women that are grandmother, carry them, go. You see, but young ones like Kunle, like Kayode, like this, like Lami, all these young guys like this, Bobola, young guys like this, Musa, all these young boys, leave them like this. Leave young people, Abraham, all these, leave them. But you see these older ones, carry them and go. Moses said no. That's not what God said. God said all of us should go. Pharaoh said, okay, carry the young ones too, but leave the children. Moses said, no, sir. He said, all of us should go. He said, okay, all of you can go, but leave your prosperity, your wealth. Moses said, even the roof of our house, we will go with it. And the church has entered into an unholy agreement, an unholy negotiation, satanic and evil negotiations that were done by leaders of the church on behalf of the church in the content of ignorance when negotiation was taking place. And it says we want only spiritual liberty. If we have spiritual liberty, we'll control everything. We don't want business. It will derail us from going to heaven. We don't want politics. It's dirty. We don't want to be involved in leadership. No. Only Jesus is a leader. We don't want leadership. Those who did the negotiation on behalf of the church did this evil negotiation. And then other people say, okay, they don't want leadership. They don't want business. They don't want government. We take over everything. And now they are showing us Pepe. In the whole of Sokoto town here, only like 3 churches have C of O, certificate of occupation, that you can go to court and fight. Only like 3. Anglican, Catholic. We all witness what happened to the indigenous church here. How Equa Church was almost demolished, and how a sitting governor at that time wanted to build on top of a church that has existed for over 100 years, wanted to build a plaza in Sokoto here. How the church was still doing their single, take it, wow, under the anointing power, that we didn't know that C of O of a church is important for renewal. Equa Church C of O expired. Even when we tried to take a legal case, we didn't know that C of O have expired. Every C of O duration is 99 years to 100 years. After 100 years, the land goes back to the government. It's in the law. We didn't know. We were doing power. And we had assumed once we have spiritual power, everything comes to us. Go and say how they are demolishing churches and nobody has died. Nobody died. Nobody even sick. We didn't have. In our negotiation, that's what they did. Our children are now looking for a job. And they are sleeping with them. The man that sleep with dog is sleeping with that one too. Put inside dog, put inside them. Why? We seeded that in our negotiation. We said it doesn't matter. All the things we say it doesn't matter now is the things that have become prayer point in church now. All the things we traded away in negotiation is what has become testimony in the church now. That people will share and be doing like this. Woo! Connect to it. Things that we should have been the things we enjoy. We ceded them away in negotiation. And then it became prayer point in the church. When did looking for a job become a prayer point? When did buying a land become a prayer point? In the days when they were in negotiation, we were absent. In the days when the pharaohs of our days said, let your children go, let the men go, the women should stay behind and be our sex slave, nobody was there on our behalf. We just say, don't worry, once you are born again, you are going to heaven, everything is okay. And then our children can't get job now. Go and see them. The teeming unemployed graduates are Christians. The other place, they know how they give their children job, including those who didn't write interview. There was one they did in Udud. One of my friends was part of those that were interviewing people. And before they started the interview, they brought lists. These are the people to employ. He said, no, we have advertised the post. They said, where is coming from? You can't say no. You can't. This is the list. And he was trying to argue. They told him, write this list. He's a Christian. He's a born again. He was trying to fight for what was just. But he soon discovered that he was the only one fighting.